It was the evening of July 15, 2020. Suddenly the whole world's social media users were stunned when a strange tweet appeared from Elon Musk's official and verified account. It read, "Send me $1,000 in Bitcoin and I'll send you back $2,000. This offer is valid for only 30 minutes. A Bitcoin wallet address was also given under the tweet. At first glance it looked like a simple scam. But the shocking thing was that the tweet had come from Elon Musk's own account, and a short while later, the exact same tweet began appearing from the accounts of Apple, Uber, Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, Barack Obama, Joe Biden, Coinbase, and many other big names. Seeing this scam tweet on accounts with millions and billions of followers caused panic across social media. When the investigation began, it emerged that this was the biggest hacking operation in Twitter's history so far. To control the situation, the company immediately disabled the tweeting feature for all verified and well-known accounts until it could determine what was happening. But the real surprise came when it turned out that behind this entire hack was not some large international cyber gang, but a 17-year-old teenager. The investigation revealed that this boy was not new to this. He had been an online fraudster and spender since childhood. From the age of just 13, he had been committing online fraud and had stolen millions to billions of USD in Bitcoin. It also came out that he had been involved in the drug trade and some serious crimes. The question arose, how could a teenager be involved in such dangerous activities? And how did he manage to hack one of the world's largest social media platforms, Twitter? Today's story is about that boy, Graham Ivan Clark, who lived in Tampa, Florida. He was at that time studying at a public school named Gaither High School. Graham's biggest claim to fame among his classmates was his wealth. He used to come to school wearing expensive clothes, flashy watches, and accessories that cost thousands of USD. People wondered where a teenager got so much money from. If he came from a rich family, then why was he studying in a normal public school? Seeing his luxury lifestyle, many around him tried to befriend him. Graham took advantage of this curiosity. He had classmates do his homework, help them cheat in exams, and in return he would take them out to dinner or buy things they needed. It was a kind of win-win relationship, and no one dared to question his lifestyle much. If anyone ever asked where the money came from, Graham would immediately change the topic. Most people around him knew that his family's financial situation was quite normal, somewhat below average, so the question remained, where did a teenager get so much money? It all began when he was only 13. Around that time his parents divorced. His father left and settled elsewhere. Graham started living with his mother, who barely managed to meet his needs. His mother was always busy with work and left Graham mostly on his own. During this period, his attraction to the internet and gaming world increased. There he gained the freedom to do whatever he wanted without much restraint. Most of Graham's time was spent playing Minecraft. Minecraft is a game where different people can create their own servers, play together, build houses, gather resources, and do many activities. On these servers you can also make new friends. But just like in the real world, you meet all kinds of people. In the online world too, there are some who are experts at taking advantage of others and deceiving them. It was in this Minecraft world that Graham chose the path of online fraud. He began to present himself under a new name. Under this name, he had a Twitter account and a YouTube channel too. There he gained many followers. People liked him because in his videos he presented the image of a kind and innocent boy. But the reality was different. Using his sweet personality, Graham gained people's trust and then cheated them. He pretended to sell items inside Minecraft. He would accept payment from a buyer and then vanish. Many times he claimed to sell capes for Minecraft characters, priced at hundreds of USD, but as soon as he received the money he would disappear without delivering. Taking advantage of his followers' trust, Graham earned a good sum even during his teenage years, and when people questioned him he would often say arrogantly, "You can't even imagine. I'm only 12 and I'm making more money than you. If you don't believe me, I can show my PayPal. In the last 3 months I've made thousands of USD, just from Minecraft." He was so proud of his actions that gradually his bad reputation spread among his followers and within the gaming community. Some users started making videos warning others to be careful of him. One YouTuber even made a full expose video showing that i.e. Graham was actually a scammer. That video included stories from people whom he had cheated. Because of that expose and warnings from many other users, Graham was banned from several Minecraft servers. But Graham was not one to stay quiet. He decided to take revenge on that YouTuber. Soon the YouTuber himself became a victim of hacking. His email, YouTube channel and all other online accounts were hacked. To this day it has not been clearly established whether Graham carried out that hacking himself or hired another hacker. But it is more likely that he paid some hacker to do it, because by that time Graham did not have the same level of technical hacking skills. However, he did have money earned from scam operation. In this way, Graham got revenge on that YouTuber and began using the YouTuber's accounts to scam his followers. He used that person's identity on social media to cheat people and completely ruined the YouTuber's reputation. But Graham's scams were not limited to. He didn't only cheat his followers or Minecraft players, he even deceived designers, video editors and programmers. He hired them for work, got the projects done and then outright refused to pay. Overall, Graham had lived a scammer's life from his teenage years. But that was just the beginning. The tricks he learned in the virtual world gradually spread into the real world. Now he was learning to commit more advanced frauds and scams. Graham's real start in the world of hacking came from a forum and website called OJusers. Remember this name because it plays a very important role in his story. OJusers was essentially a marketplace where people bought and sold usernames from various websites. Suppose someone wanted a special username on Twitter. They could go to this forum and buy it. On the surface, the site presented itself as legal. But in reality, most of the usernames sold there were taken from hacked accounts. And these rare usernames could sell for thousands of USD. This is where Graham's true nature emerged. He was no longer just a scammer, but had become a hacker. In this phase, he used a technique most commonly known as SIM swap. In simple terms, SIM swapping means the hacker gains control of the target's SIM card. As you know, most online accounts are linked to a phone number. Companies use two-step verification to keep accounts secure. That is, a confirmation code is sent by SMS to the user to log in. But if a hacker gains control of that SIM card, the code will go to them and the real user will be locked out of their account. You might think, is it really that easy? Can a hacker just call the telecom company and have someone else's number transferred to them? Actually, it isn't that simple. The process is quite complicated. But to put it simply, when a hacker manages to get the target's number transferred to their SIM, they can access all the target's accounts, whether it's email, bank account, or Bitcoin wallet. So the question arises, how did a teenager get someone else's SIM under his control? The answer is that hackers use many methods. The most common method is pretending to be a telecom company employee and tricking another real employee. For example, the hacker calls a branch of the company and pretends to be an employee of the same company. He confuses the person on the other end by saying they had reported a technical issue and even provides a fake report number as proof, making the employee believe it's genuine. In reality, it's all a lie. The employee often replies that they did not make such a report. Then the hacker takes another step. He sends the employee a link to a website that looks exactly like the telecom company's real website. The hacker then asks the employee to log into their company account and verify that report. As soon as the employee enters their username and password on that fake website, a page appears saying the problem is solved. The employee thinks everything is fine, thanks the hacker and hangs up. But by then the hacker has already captured their login credentials and now has direct access to the system. The hacker can now transfer the target's number to his own SIM. The target suddenly finds their SIM not working. They can no longer log into their account. Passwords have been changed, and without the phone number they cannot reset them. This is just one method. If this does not work, hackers try another employee or call a different branch. This is called social hacking. Instead of looking for technical loopholes, they trick people to get what they want. Initially, Graham used this trick only to hack Twitter accounts in order to obtain special usernames and sell them on the OJusers forum. His focus was limited to Twitter account, but soon Graham realized that gaining control of someone's phone number could give him access to their email and from there to their bank accounts. He quickly understood that stealing directly from banks was risky and traceable. But there was another world. Cryptocurrencies, where transactions are not easily traceable. The real treasure was with people who had millions to billions of USD in Bitcoin. There were large amounts of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies stored. This is where Graham began to target such people. And the truth is, Graham was not alone. Then, as now, there are many attacks in which hackers take control of someone's phone number and get into their Bitcoin wallet, wiping out all the money. Victims have almost no options, because Bitcoin transactions are nearly impossible to trace. For that reason, back then we began to see crypto thefts worth tens of millions of dollars, sums that even traditional bank robbers could never take. Graham truly began this journey when he was only 15 years old. While selling usernames on the OG Users forum, he met several hackers who were experts in this trick. He started learning from them. Gradually, they formed a small community where most people liked to show off their wealth. They proudly displayed luxury cars, expensive watches, branded clothes and shoes worth thousands of dollars on social media. At first, Graham earned thousands of dollars from this work. Then that amount grew to hundreds of thousands and gradually reached millions. As his income increased, his confidence became even more dangerous. He would scan cryptocurrency platforms and their followers on Twitter. Those who openly flaunted their Bitcoin wealth were the easiest targets. Many people openly used their real names, emails, phone numbers, and personal details, which made hacking them easier. After choosing a target, Graham used another technique: dox. That means collecting someone's personal information online and making it public, for example, their real name, home address, workplace, phone number, email, and other details. This information could easily be bought from websites where people themselves fill out their detail. Doxing does not require any special skill. Ordinary people often use it for harassment, leaking someone's details, filing complaints, and even getting police to show up at their door, even if they did nothing wrong. But Graham's aim was not harassment. He used this information for his SIM card switching operations. He would call the telecom company, present himself as the real owner, and somehow convince an employee. Then he would take the SIM card under his control. One of Graham's victims was Greg Beneath. Greg was an investor with several investments, including Bitcoin. On the afternoon of April 15, 2019, Greg was working at his office. His phone was on his desk and he glanced at it when the network signal suddenly disappeared. Greg was stunned. His office was in a modern urban area where network coverage was always perfect. How could the signal suddenly vanish? He immediately tried to log into his email accounts. Despite entering the password, errors kept appearing saying the password was wrong. A short while later, his phone shut down completely. Greg grew fearful. He checked his Bitcoin accounts. He kept his crypto on 3 different platforms, but could not access any of them. Then he realized he had been hacked. The worst part was that there was nothing he could do. Greg then remembered an app on his phone that aggregated data from all his Bitcoin wallets and displayed it in one place. He opened the app quickly, and what he saw shocked him. Bitcoin transactions from his account were being transferred in real time to another account. The hacker was taking Greg's entire digital wealth right before his eyes. Imagine suddenly losing your calendar entries, contacts, all emails, your children's photos and videos, your whole digital life in an instant. That is what happened to Greg. Later it emerged that the person who had hacked his accounts and stolen his Bitcoin was none other than Graham. In a single operation, Graham stole Bitcoin equivalent to $1 million from Greg. But Graham did not stop there. He tried to withdraw whatever balance remained in Greg's accounts as well. Crypto platforms had daily withdrawal limits, though, so Greg rushed to the telecom company the same day, recovered his phone number and used it to freeze his remaining Bitcoin account. Still, the amount Graham had already withdrawn could never be recovered, because as noted earlier, Bitcoin transfers are effectively untraceable. Graham's greed did not end there. He wanted the Bitcoin that remained because of daily withdrawal limit. To get it, he hacked one of Greg's emails again and used it to contact Greg. Greg received a threatening message stating that if he wanted to recover all his accounts and avoid harassment, he must transfer 50 Bitcoin. At that time, 50 Bitcoin was worth approximate. The message also threatened that if he didn't pay, his friends and family could be harmed. Think about it. After stealing $1 million from a man, Graham still demanded more money. Even stranger, Graham and his associates used Greg's hacked email to communicate with each other. Later it became clear that 2 other hackers were involved in the operation with Graham. But as usual, Graham betrayed them and did not give them their share of the loot. When they could not contact him, they were forced to use Greg's hacked email to send threats to Graham. One email said, "Either give us our share or you go to jail." They clearly stated that if they didn't receive money, they would expose him and report him to the police. For Graham, this was nothing new. He had been deceiving others since his Minecraft day. The difference now was that he was cheating people who themselves belonged to the bad world, and that put him in even greater danger. These people now had personal grudges against him. Some of Graham's close associates later testified that these hackers had obtained personal information about his family. They constantly harassed him, sent people to his house to intimidate or rob him. On one occasion, the harassment escalated to torture and very dark threats. But even that wasn't enough for Graham. After entering the world of fraud and hacking, he also entered the drug world. He began dealing in weed and narcotic pills, and also used them himself. During this period, he met people who were dangerous in the drug trade. At the end of 2019, Graham got caught up in an incident that made his life even messier. It was a shooting in which one of his friends died. The truth is unclear, but Graham and two of his friends had gone to a drug dealer's house. They had gone. The real reason is not fully established, but it is believed they had a dispute over money or a debt. Graham stayed in the car while his two friends went inside. The dealer had a weapon too. As soon as he saw the intruders, he fired. One of Graham's friends died at the scene and the other was seriously injured. Hearing the gunfire, Graham immediately took the car and fled. The police arrived shortly after and an investigation began. The injured young man was questioned and he named Graham to the police. When the police questioned Graham, he admitted he had been present with his friends, but claimed he had only been sitting in the car. He said he had no idea what his friends planned to do inside. He said his friends had only asked him to drop them off, and when the shots rang out, he ran away in fear. He denied any direct involvement in the incident. Investigators found differences between Graham's statements and the physical evidence, but they could not prove anything. In the end, the only thing that could be established was that Graham had been in the car, and that alone wasn't sufficient to convict him. After this incident, Graham's schooling ended. The Gaither High School director made it clear that any student involved in this case would no longer be allowed to enroll. That marked the end of Graham's school journey. He then left his mother's home and bought an apartment of his own, but the authorities kept a close watch on him. Investigations continued. Things got worse when Graham started openly showing off his wealth on social media. Hackers and scammers competed over who had more money. Someone showed their cars, another their luxury watches, someone else their expensive travels or lavish parties. These displays made them more suspicious to the authorities. For example, a hacker who called himself Xavier stole $7.5 million using the SIM swap method, the same method Graham used. Xavier received a 10-year sentence at the age of. When investigators looked closely at Graham's activities, they felt that something was off. The case reached the prosecutor's office. After collecting evidence, they obtained a search warrant and raided Graham's home. Detectives found 400 Bitcoin there. At that time, their value was approximately $4 million. Everyone was surprised because they had not expected Graham to have accumulated such a large sum. Authorities knew from the investigation that he had stolen at least $1 million, but when $4 million was recovered, they estimated that the remaining $3 million must also have been stolen. As mentioned earlier, Bitcoin transactions are nearly impossible to trace, so they could not prove it. The case was extremely complex and stretched on for 8 months. Finally, the prosecutor's office offered Graham a deal. They said the government would keep $1 million of the seized money, and the remaining $3 million would be returned to him, and in exchange Graham would not be prosecuted. Graham accepted the deal without delay. Everyone knew the money was stolen, but still he walked away with $3 million. The case was complicated also because Graham was a minor, under 8. Under U.S. law, hacking and scamming are federal crimes, but direct federal prosecution of minors is not usual. That loophole served as a shield for Graham. Experts said the law needed to change because nowadays children too are involved in online scams and crypto fraud. These are serious crimes that deserve punishment, but federal law ties prosecutors' hands when the suspect is a minor. That is why Graham's case did not go to trial, and as a result he avoided jail and walked away with $3 million. So after all that, should Graham have repented? Should he have feared going to jail next time? The answer is absolutely not. The opposite happened. Graham grew more confident. He thought that as long as he remained a minor, he could not be punished, and he had only 8 months left before he turned 18. He resolved to make full use of those 8 months. He began planning even bigger crimes, and that thinking led him to July 2020, the date when Graham carried out the largest hacking operation in internet history. This time his target was not an ordinary website, but the world's largest social media platform, Twitter. That night breaking news spread everywhere. Twitter had suffered a massive security breach targeting high-profile users with millions and billions of followers. One by one, tweets suddenly appeared. Soon the tweets started appearing. These were not from some random accounts, but from 30 of Twitter's biggest accounts. These included Elon Musk, Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, Apple, Barack Obama, Joe Biden, Floyd Mayweather, and many other big names. From all these accounts, the same type of message was posted. It said that the account owner wanted to return money to their followers. If someone sent them Bitcoin, they would return double the amount. The offer was valid for only 30 minutes, and at the end of the tweet, a Bitcoin wallet address was given. To any normal user, this tweet would look like a scam at first glance. But the problem was that these tweets came from the verified accounts of the world's most famous personalities and companies. That was why millions of people got confused for a moment. These tweets stayed live for only a few minutes. The Twitter administration quickly took action and stopped tweeting from high-profile verified accounts to understand what was really happening. Meanwhile, one person came forward, Hasib Awan, who himself ran a security technical company. His company's main job was to protect people from hackers and SIM swap attacks. Hasib was already in communication with some hackers. Suddenly one of them sent him a message, "Twitter will be fun today." When Hasib asked what that meant, the hacker revealed that a hacker community could now control any Twitter account. And this hacker community was not a new place. It was the same forum we had already heard of, OGUs, the same website where stolen social media accounts were bought and sold. Hasib asked where this information came from. Then the hacker sent him a post from the forum. It said that you could buy any Twitter account for just $2,000 to $3,000, and you would get the password with it. The post was made on the forum by a user named Chivan. Hasib, to confirm this, tweeted a screenshot so people could understand that the source of hacking was from there. But just 10 minutes later he received a private message. "Please delete your tweet. I don't want people to think I am part of this crime." When Hasib asked who he was, the reply came, "I am Chivan, the one who put the accounts on sale." He explained that he had nothing to do with the hacking operation. He was just an intermediary. He didn't want to get trapped in this. Then Hasib gave him the phone number of a journalist and said, "If you want to clear your name, tell the truth to this journalist. Otherwise, sooner or later you will get arrested." Forced, Chivan contacted the journalist and told the whole story. He even revealed his real identity. He said his name was Mason. He was only 19 years old, and he lived in England. While talking to the journalist, Mason was extremely stressed and upset. He repeatedly said that he had nothing to do with these hacks. He only sold accounts. The journalist then asked him where he got these accounts from. Mason revealed that a person named Kirk had contacted him on Discord. When Mason told the journalist that the person who gave him hacked accounts called himself Kirk, the journalist was shocked. He asked, "Are you saying he is a Twitter employee?" Mason clarified that he never directly asked Kirk this question, but he believed that if someone could access such big accounts, then he must be a Twitter employee. Otherwise, hacking so many accounts at once was almost impossible. Mason said that Kirk had contacted him directly and told him that if he wanted, he could help sell some accounts. At first, Mason didn't believe that this person could access any Twitter account, but Kirk assured him and said, "Just give me any username, and I will give you its account right now." Mason, curious, asked for a rare username, and within seconds Kirk sent him the access and password of that account. When Mason logged in himself and checked, he believed that this person really could access any account. After that, Mason agreed to help him and posted that same ad on the OG users forum that people had seen earlier. Perhaps at that time Mason had no idea what a big game he was stepping into, but when he himself saw those scam tweets from the biggest Twitter accounts, he understood that the matter was much bigger than he thought. Now the question was, who was the real Kirk, and how did he carry out such a massive hacking operation? The answer to this puzzle was soon going to come out. After Graham made a deal with the authorities and got out with $3,000, he started planning again. This time he had another boy with him, 2 years younger than him. This boy was much more skilled in hacking than Graham. His identity and name were never officially revealed because he was still a minor. But this boy became Graham's partner, and together they carried out the Twitter hacking operation. This was the year 20. The whole world was struggling with the pandemic. As a precaution, most big companies had adopted remote work. Twitter was one of them. All employees were now working from home and logging into the company system from their personal devices. This was the chance Graham and his friend used. They started gathering information about Twitter employees. They tracked their accounts, collected phone numbers, and made a list of each employee. After that, they would call employees and pretend to be Twitter technical staff, convincing them that there was some issue in their accounts that needed to be fixed immediately. Their confidence and tone on the phone sounded so real that employees got fooled. In the end, Graham and his friend would lead them to a fake login page. This page looked exactly like Twitter's real website. Employees would enter their username and password on that page, thinking they had logged into the real site. But in reality, they had handed over their information directly to the hackers. Graham and his friend used those login credentials to enter employee accounts and checked what kind of powers they had. Not every Twitter employee had the same access. High-level employees had powers that could change the email or password of any account. The two boys kept hacking one account after another. Gradually, they got higher access and finally reached the account of a manager who had the ultimate power, the power to change the email and password of any Twitter account. That meant they now had the master key to completely control any account on Twitter. The most shocking thing was that this operation was not carried out by any foreign agency or professional hacker group, but by just two teenagers. The planning of the operation was brilliant, but the benefits they took from it were very limited. They could have used the accounts of these big companies to make huge financial gains, but their thinking was only to get rare usernames and run a Bitcoin scam. But imagine if they wanted, they could have played an even bigger financial game. They could have posted a fake tweet about the resignation of managers of companies like Apple. That news would have immediately dropped the company's stock price. And if they had short sold in advance, they could have earned millions of dollars. They had access even to the private conversations of celebrities. They could have exposed their secrets, sold them, or even blackmailed them. At that time, Twitter was literally under their control. They had the power to shake the world politically and economically. But in a way, it was the world's luck that this operation was in the hands of teenagers, whose thinking was still immature. But this game did not last long. 2 weeks after the hack, on July 31, 2020, the FBI arrested Graham and his friend. Till today, the full details of the case have never been officially revealed. Because minors were involved, the information was kept hidden. But experts believe that Graham and his partner must have left some lead behind. Maybe a phone number, an email, an IP address, or maybe someone reported them. Just a few days after Graham's arrest, an initial session took place. His lawyer, the judge, and some secondary lawyers were present. The meeting happened online on Zoom, because of quarantine at that time. But even there, Graham's social circle became visible. His friends from the OG Users Forum joined the call using fake names, pretending to be journalists. They introduced themselves as members of media outlets, newspapers and TV channels. During the court hearing, they started making fun. They began playing songs and disturbing the judge. The judge had to repeatedly say, "I am removing people as quickly as I can." This clearly showed the kind of people Graham surrounded himself with: careless teenagers who thought life was a joke. Now Graham's trial was going to be tough. The prosecution was clear in its intention. He would be tried as an adult because he was only a few months away from turning. In court, 30 different felonies were charged against him. If he was found guilty, he could be sentenced to a total of 210 years. The main condition of this deal was that Graham would plead guilty, and in return, he would be sentenced as a minor, even though in the beginning it was said that he would be tried as an adult. In Florida, there is a program called the Youth Offenders Program. In this program, any minor can be sentenced to a maximum of 6 years only. Graham was also sentenced to 6 years. The most important thing was that he was kept in a prison made for minors. In this way, Graham escaped a very big sentence. If he had been an adult at that time, his sentence would have been much heavier. But the story does not end here. After coming out of prison, Graham returned to his apartment. He still had 300 bitcoins left, which the police had not seized. When he went to jail, their value was around, but when he came out, the same bitcoins had risen in value to 9,000.